Hello, Virgo. Hmm. Thank you. From somewhere real in me. Thank you. I see your comments. I read them. The ones who share what is happening in their lives. The ones who say this landed at exactly the right moment. The ones who are just quietly here week after week. You are seen. And to anyone joining for the very first time today, welcome. Something brought you here. And I think if you stay with me through this one, you might understand why. Because this one I have been sitting with for a while before speaking it. I need you to hear me before you do anything, before you respond, before you reach back, before you make a single move in the direction of what is coming. Please sit down, get still, and let me tell you what I feel. Something is about to reach you, a contact, a message, a moment you have been waiting for or trying to stop waiting for or pretending you were not still waiting for at all. Something from a direction you know, from a presence that has been quiet or distant or complicated, and it is coming toward you with an energy that may feel on the surface like what you have always wanted from them, but there is a twist, and I need you to be prepared for it. Not afraid of it, prepared. Because prepared and afraid are completely different things. Afraid makes you react, prepared lets you choose. Let me go slow here, because this matters. There is a version of this moment that you have imagined, maybe many versions. The way they reach out, the words they use, the tone of it. You have probably rehearsed your own response in your head more times than you would want to admit. You have played out different scenarios, different outcomes, different versions of what it could mean and where it could lead. And that imagining, that is not something to be ashamed of. It is what the human heart does when it is still attached to something unresolved. It rehearses, it prepares, it tries to find solid ground in something that has felt for a long time like standing on water. But here is what I want to offer you gently before anything happens. The version that is coming, it may not match any of the versions you imagined. Not because it is worse, not necessarily, but because real things rarely arrive the way we script them. And this particular thing, what I sense around it, it may carry something unexpected inside it. Something that asks more of you than a simple yes or no. Something that requires you to be more present, more grounded, more clear about who you are and what you actually want than the imagined versions ever required. Because in the imagined versions, you always knew what to say. In the real one, you might not. And that is okay. That is actually okay. So let me talk about the twist. I want to be careful here because I do not want to tell you what to think before it happens. I want to prepare your energy, not your conclusions. Those belong to you. But what I sense, what keeps coming through when I sit with the energy of this, is that what is reaching out towards you is carrying more than one layer. On the surface, there may be something that looks familiar, something that resembles what you have been hoping for, a softening maybe, an admission, a reaching. And that surface layer, it will be real. I do not sense performance in it. I do not sense manipulation. What might be coming seems to carry genuine feeling underneath it, but beneath that surface layer, there may be something they themselves do not fully understand yet. A confusion they are inside of, a wanting that is real but that has not yet been fully examined, um, a reaching toward you that is honest but that may not yet be fully formed into something you can build on. And that is the twist. Not a betrayal, not a trap, but a complexity. An invitation into something that is real but not yet ready. Something that is true but not yet whole. And the question I want to sit with you in right now, before any of that arrives, is this: what do you do with a reaching that is genuine but incomplete? Because that is actually one of the harder things to navigate. It would almost be easier if it were simple, if they reached out and it was clearly wrong, clearly right, clearly something to walk toward or walk away from. But incomplete things, genuine but unfinished things, those require something different from you. They require discernment, the ability to feel something real in what they are offering without losing the thread of what you actually need. And I think you have been building that discernment quietly without always realizing it. Through every moment of this that has been confusing or painful or uncertain, you have been learning in the slowest and most real way the difference between what feels good in the moment and what is actually good for you over time. That learning does not disappear just because someone reaches out. It lives in you now. It is yours. Let me speak to your energy for a moment. Just yours. Not the situation, not the other person. You. There is a steadiness in you right now that was not always there. I feel it. Not a coldness, not a wall, a steadiness. The kind that comes from having been through something, from having sat in the uncertainty long enough that it stopped feeling like an emergency. The kind that comes from having learned slowly and sometimes reluctantly that you are still okay even when things are unresolved. That your life does not pause waiting for someone else's clarity. That steadiness is significant. It is one of the most important things you could bring into whatever is coming, because when someone reaches out from a place of feeling, from a place of wanting, from a place of perhaps finally seeing what they had or might have lost, they are going to feel that steadiness in you. And it is going to matter. Not as a strategy, not as a power move, but because genuine steadiness is one of the rarest and most magnetic qualities a person can carry. It communicates something that words cannot fully say. It says, I am here, but I am here from a place of wholeness, not need. I am open, but I am open from a place of choice, not desperation. That changes everything about how an encounter unfolds. Have you noticed that steadiness in yourself lately, even in small moments? A situation that would have destabilized you before, that you moved through differently this time? I would love to hear about that in the comments if this is landing for you, because I think many of you are further along than you realize, and sometimes it helps to say it out loud. Now, the preparation I actually want to give you, not a script, not a strategy, something simpler and deeper than either of those things. Before they reach out, however that happens, whenever that happens, come back to yourself first, not to the version of you that has been waiting, not to the version of you that has been rehearsing, not to the version of you that has an agenda for how this goes, but to the version of you that exists completely independently of this situation. The version of you that has a life and a sense of direction and a knowledge of what matters that does not hinge on what one person does or does not do. Come back to that version. Spend time with it before anything arrives. Remind yourself of who you are when this is not the loudest thing in the room, because that is the version of you that will respond wisely. That is the version of you that will be able to feel what is true in what they offer without being swept away by the feeling of finally being reached for. That is the version of you that can be warm and open and genuinely present without abandoning yourself in the process. And I want to say something about abandoning yourself because I think it is something you may have done before in moments like this, not from weakness, from love. From the way love, when it has been waiting, can rush forward the moment a door opens even slightly, can pour itself out before the door is fully open, before it is clear the person on the other side is truly ready to receive it. I want to gently ask you not to do that this time. Not because what you feel is too much. It is not too much. But because you deserve to give it to someone who has arrived, not someone who is still on their way. And the arriving, the real arriving that is shown over time, over ordinary moments, over the small, consistent choices a person makes when there is no crisis to drive them. Watch for that. Not just the reaching, the arriving. There is something else I want to name softly before I close. The twist I spoke of at the beginning. It might also live inside you. Because when this contact comes, you may feel something you were not expecting to feel. Maybe not what you thought you would feel. Maybe something more complicated than longing or relief or joy. Maybe a tiredness. Maybe a clarity. Maybe a question rising up from somewhere deep that asks whether this is still what you want, whether the version of this you were holding on to still fits who you have become. That question is not a betrayal of your feelings. It is not you being closed or self-protective or unable to receive. It is you being honest. It is the natural result of having grown during the time that has passed. You are not the same person who started waiting. And what you need, what you are willing to accept, what you imagine for yourself, that may have shifted too, perhaps more than you realize. So let yourself feel the full complexity of it when it arrives. Do not rush to label it. Do not decide in the first moment what it means or what you should do with it. Let it breathe. Let yourself breathe. The clarity will come if you give it space rather than forcing it. And here, at the end of this, I want to leave you with something still and simple. You are ready for this. Not because everything is figured out, not because the outcome is clear, but because you have done the work quietly and without much recognition of becoming someone who can meet a moment like this without losing themselves in it. That matters more than any perfect response, more than any strategy, more than knowing exactly what to say or do. You are grounded enough to feel what is true. You are clear enough to know what you need. You are open enough to receive something real if something real is what arrives. And whatever comes, whatever shape this takes, whatever the twist turns out to be, you will know what to do with it. Maybe not immediately, but you will know. Trust that. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.